Welcome to our workshop on building referral channels, specifically strategic referral channels. I'll explain the difference there. This is a jam-packed workshop, one big concept that I want to share with you, but then so many little nuggets, little tweaks that you could make that are going to turn on the tap to increase the referrals, improve the referrals within your law firm. So be prepared to hit the pause button and to take notes as we go along. I'm Jacob Aldridge, co-founder of Como Legal Coaching. At Como Legal Coaching, we pride ourselves on the breadth of conversations that we help our female-led law firm owners with, whether that's strategy, vision, culture, brand, whether it's getting into revenue, profit, team expectations, communication. There's a lot that we do, but if I had to pick just one, if I had to specialize in just one strategic area, today's topic would be the one I would choose to generate the most revenue because it is the most misunderstood. It is the biggest opportunity for family law firms in Australia to do referral building differently and in a way that is going to generate so much more revenue. Why is this important? Well, whether you're a junior lawyer, a senior lawyer, whether you hope to have your own firm one day, or whether you already have your own firm, understanding how to build and maintain strategic referral channels will ensure that you get a steady supply of pre-qualified, pre-sold referrals that are exactly the clients that you want. If you want to work exclusively with your ideal clients, if you want to better manage your capacity and your work-life rhythm as an employee or as a firm, and if you want to earn more money, strategic referral channels is the way to achieve that. Lawyers who understand this earn 50% more than their counterparts with similar years PQE, PAE, and that applies even if you own your firm. You get more clients, better fit, more profit. That is why this topic is so important. And the challenge that so many firms have, so many lawyers have, is that they don't understand the process you need to go through in order to build strategic referral channels. What you may have experienced yourself, or you've watched other lawyers above you, mentors, other firms go through, is really a traditional attempt at building referrals. You meet somebody at a breakfast, at an event, maybe one of your clients mentions them, and you go and have an introductory coffee. And it's nice. They're a nice person. You're a nice person. You have a nice conversation. And you say something like, "We could do some business together. I've got some clients that would be great for you." And they say the same back. And then nothing ever happens. Maybe 6 months later, 12 months later, you bump into them at another breakfast or you go out for another coffee. You end up in what we call neutral corners. It's a boxing term. It's where you're not actually engaging, you're not actually doing anything. You haven't disengaged, you're just dancing around, not doing anything meaningful. The challenge for you is that that can feel like meaningful activity. It can feel like you've got 100 people out there, 5 people out there who are all referral sources for you, except none of them are actually referring. You're all doing the neutral corners dance. What we have, what I'm going to share with you today in some detail, is a process. This is the process that, if you follow, will create those pre-qualified, pre-sold ideal client referrals coming your way as often as you want them. And that is quite a different experience. And it's quite a different experience for the people you're going to be talking to. So one of the key things that I recommend you take away and understand as we have a look at this process is to share with your prospective referral sources that you have a process. Your firm has a process for building referral relationships, and you are choosing to take that person through to see if there's an opportunity here to do some business together. Just putting a process on the table and making that a third-party conversation. It's not your process. You're not asking these different questions. You're not doing things a weird way. You have a process that you're going to follow, which can excite some potential referral sources and bring comfort to others to know that you're approaching this differently, that you and your firm are actually a step above other family law firms that maybe they have some loose relationships with. So the first question you need to ask, the first question that we get a lot is who are potential referral sources. Now, this is going to differ a little bit depending on where you are in your career. And it's worth just briefly touching on the career journey of a family lawyer, going through some of these different steps in the legal career path. Building referral relationships is not something you do only once you become a partner or a senior or you decide to go out and start your own firm. It's something that you can begin right from the early days when you are a junior lawyer, those early years. And indeed, you will have started building some of these networks at university in your graduate programs, and absolutely once you're an early lawyer. Who refers to family lawyers? And this is one of the great opportunities that you have having selected this area of law. If I think about my firm, my consulting coaching business, Como Legal Coaching, we work with female-led law firms who have multiple partners and between 10 and 100 employees. Now, there's enough of those out there to keep us busy with ideal client work, but they're hardly on every street corner. Our strategic referral channels, our best referral channels, are actually other female-led law firms who have between 10 and 100 employees who've worked with us or seen our material, who know the value, and birds of a feather flock together. They share in groups and make referrals to us. When you're a family lawyer, your clients can be on every street. Whether you are solely specialized in litigious separations and divorces, whether it's broadening out to mediation, collaboration, or whether you are more of a full service family law firm with wills and estates and those kind of activities, your clients are out there everywhere, which means that there's a lot more people who already know your ideal client that you can go follow this process and build a relationship with. Some of the key ones, if you're early starting, not quite sure, haven't really thought this through, some of the key categories of good referral sources for family lawyers. And the first one is other lawyers. Other lawyers who have different specialties. They have clients, absolutely, and they also have their own relationships. If you think about any time that you or your friends have a legal problem or a legal question, chances are you're going to go and chat to the lawyer you know. And you've probably, however early or late in your career you may be, fielded questions that are way outside the area of family law from friends and family who just want to talk to a lawyer first. And you're then in a place where you can make an introduction, make a referral to the right lawyer. And all of those other lawyers, corporate lawyers, the conveyancing lawyers, whether they're working in big glass towers or out of their back room, are gaining those questions around family law matters. So the number one category of referrals for family lawyers is other lawyers, which is why I say this is fantastic. Even if you're a junior lawyer, you went through school with other lawyers. Maybe you were at law balls, maybe you were out drinking, maybe you were just in tutorial groups with other lawyers. You know other lawyers. You can maintain those relationships. Other categories, other professional services firms. Accountants often have solid long-term relationships with their clients. Financial planners, mortgage brokers. If you think through any category of a professional service that you perhaps have used or some of your clients that you are familiar with will have used, you'll notice that those individuals, that accountant, that mortgage broker, are talking to a lot of people and are talking about some fairly significant, substantial things. If I'm going through a relationship breakdown, I'm probably not sharing that with the fish and chip shop owner. But I'm talking to my mortgage broker, I'm talking to my accountant, I'm talking to my trusted advisor. Those are the advisors that you want to build relationships with. Who do you know already that's in those categories? And then what are some other categories? Hairdressers, medical specialists, not necessarily GPs who are going to break that, but psychologists who are dealing with individuals, family breakdowns, perhaps trauma, DV, if those are areas of your specialty, or children who are going through high need situations. You're not asking them to breach any confidence or privilege that they may have as a medical professional, but to be able to put you forward to their clients who have a need for a family lawyer is an opportunity. Now, here's a key thing for more junior lawyers. A lot of those connections you have, a lot of those friends you have won't necessarily be in a position right now to give you these referrals. That doesn't stop you from building these relationships now. It stops you from expecting too much or for asking too much. As we go through some of the steps, we'll touch on this again. It's planting the seed, it's building that relationship for the long term. So that in the future, when you are a senior and they are a senior, you're a partner, they're a partner, you've built that relationship over the long term. You don't make that mistake that so many lawyers do of ignoring a lot of those relationships for 10, 15 years. And then all of a sudden showing up when you're on a pathway to partnership or you're a senior associate and your employer has tapped you on the shoulder and you start chasing these referrals with desperate tattooed across your forehead. Build those relationships slowly, gently for the long term. Another question we often get asked is the value of networking groups, organizations like BNI. If you're not familiar, BNI and many others that are like them or have even just copied their model are networking groups that value a depth of relationship building and expect their members from non-competing industries to meet sometimes every single week to discuss referrals that they can give each other. Now, personally, I'm an introvert. I would rather gouge my eyes out with blunt spoons than go and have eggs Benedict with the same group of people every single Thursday morning. However, I'm also privileged enough to have built strategic referral channels and to be 20 years into my coaching career. If you haven't had much experience asking for referrals, receiving referrals, giving referrals, especially if you are 3 to 5 years PQE and perhaps don't have some of those obligations at home with kids and drop off at school, you've got a little more flexibility, then networking groups can be an incredible asset, even if it's only for 1 to 2 years, because you will be forced to practice many of the steps that I'm going to go through. While those groups are rarely as strategic and targeted as what the process we're going to go through today is, they will still force you to stand and introduce yourself, to receive referrals, and to understand the difference between a good referral and a test case. The test case is the referral you don't want, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. They're not a great client for you, and if you accept them, you'll just keep getting referrals of not great clients. Those networking groups can accelerate your education along that journey. So you can pause this video now if you like, and looking at those categories, ask yourself, who do I already know or who in my neighborhood would fit some of those categories? Are there other lawyers? Is there an accounting office next door to my firm? Where am I going to start those relationships?